Donald Trump just got a rude awakening in a state he won in 2024. And it's not just bad news for Donald Trump. It's a complete disaster. I'm talking about Michigan right now, where Donald Trump's approval is net negative 17.9% in the latest Economist poll. And when you zoom in, it's very easy to see why Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans are causing such grievous harm to Michigan right now. It's not simply promises made, promises not kept. It's outright fraud, destruction, and devastation being engaged in by this Trump regime. I mean, you have Michigan fighting back, though, a resilient state. You have 24 states, one of them is Michigan, now filing another lawsuit against the Trump regime over the latest batch of tariffs that predated Trump's unlawful war against Iran, where after losing in the United States Supreme Court, where they rejected Donald Trump's tariff against the world and banned it, Donald Trump said, you know what, I'm just going to invoke Section 122 of the Trade Act of 1974, and I'm going to unlawfully say that this applies, and I'm going to do 15% tariffs against the entire world. Then I'm going to go to war against Iran, and then I'm going to try to get some help from the allies who I just tariffed and declared a trade war on, and then they're not going to help me out. That's what went down. And so Michigan's filing a lawsuit against Donald Trump saying, stop the new tariffs against the world. You are crushing the people of Michigan. And by the way, give us a damn tariff refund from the money you stole from our people. Now, we're seeing even in deep red areas in Michigan, former Democratic parties that were all but dead are becoming revived. There is a spirit right now as Democrats are putting forward a message about affordability and anti-corruption. But you can't just say those words. You better walk the walk in addition to talking the talk and show how you're going to get that done for the people. Because, in Michigan, utility prices are soaring. Things are not affordable. So don't just use affordability as a mantra. I mean, you have Dana Nessel over there in Michigan, and she's warning that Michigan ratepayers are going to be paying Donald Trump's coal plant order as Donald Trump is demanding, he has that new mascot, Coley the coal, that consumers are going to be spending a lot more money. Consumer Energy spent more than $135 million operating a coal-fired J.H. Campbell power plant in West Michigan in 2025 after Donald Trump issued an emergency order requiring the plant to remain operational past its planned closure, the company disclosed in federal filings. So Michigan Attorney General Dana Nessel presented the figure to the Senate Committee on Energy and Environment during a Wednesday presentation and saying at the end of the day, these federal policies are raising energy prices for the people of Michigan, and they're making people less safe and less healthy. Also, who's making a lot of money in Michigan right now? For-profit prison companies who are contributors and friends with Donald Trump and his regime. This for-profit prison company made millions of dollars after contributing a lot to the Trump campaign, and it's now expanding faster than they ever had before. How much money? They made $254 million in profit last year. Owner of Michigan's ICE Detention Center reporting record profits right now. They're called the Geo Group. They make a lot of campaign contributions to Donald Trump. They're very close to Trump and his family. And, the horrors and atrocities being committed there. Don't get me started on some of Donald Trump's attack on the Gordie Howe Bridge in Michigan, Donald Trump ripping away health care from people in Michigan, Donald Trump continuing to engage in this type of behavior. I want to bring on a guy by the name of Sean McCann, State Senator McCann, that is. He's been representing Michigan basically his entire adult life. He previously was on the Kalamazoo City Commission. He was a Kalamazoo City Commissioner. He was a state representative. Now he serves as a state senator in Southwest Michigan, building a reputation among both Democrats and Republicans as a serious problem solver. And this is a big congressional race. pretty confident that State Senator McCann is going to be able to pull this off and flip this one blue as Donald Trump gets less and less and less popular. Why don't I go and bring in the interview I did with State Senator McCann? Let's play this interview. And now I want to bring in a Michigan State Senator, Sean McCann, who's running for Michigan's 4th Congressional District. Currently, it's being held by a MAGA Republican Congress member, Bill Huizenga. It's so fascinating when I look at the 4th, and how flippable I believe it is. It just seems that everything that Huizenga, this MAGA Republican Congress member, has done has just been outright antagonistic and just like in every single way against the interests of this 4th Congressional District in Southwest Michigan. So it always struck me as just odd that you've got a guy who literally does everything against the values, principles, work ethic, everything about Southwest Michigan, representing Southwest Michigan. So I don't fully know how it happens, but I think it's a flippable district. Tell us how you're going to flip it.
Yeah, you're right, Ben. And remember that this is a district that got redrawn and redistricting a few years ago. So the incumbent hasn't represented a lot of this area for very long, and it's quite evident. So I'm Sean McCann. I'm state senator here in Michigan. Have lived in Kalamazoo, Southwest Michigan for going on 37 years. Have been honored to serve as a local and state elected official for 21 of those years. And for me, it's always been about delivering for the district, serving people here in the community, listening and showing up. And like you said, that's really not what has been the case here, that people have come to learn and experience as the incumbent Congressman Huizenga has come to represent a lot of us here that he hasn't represented before. This is a district that was won in the last gubernatorial cycle. So 4 years ago, Governor Whitmer, who's endorsed me, along with our Secretary of State, Jocelyn Benson, who's endorsed me and is running for governor now, have won this district, won it in their races. So last time Trump wasn't on the ballot, they were victorious here. It was a little tougher in the presidential cycle, but we see a full path here. We see people deeply upset with the lack of representation that they've had. We see new people moving into the district that are changing the demographics here. It's one of the fastest growing populations in Southwest Michigan. And there's really just a deep hunger amongst everyday folks for change here. We see it in the turnouts at No Kings rallies. We see it in people showing up to the town halls that I hold, that the incumbent won't hold. And there's just a ton of energy and engagement and belief in the need to change, and that the congressman here backing fully the Trump administration and all their broken promises is time to be sent back home to his district, but not representing it anymore.
I mean, look, you know this district better than everybody. You served in the city commission in Kalamazoo. You served 2 terms in the House representing the Kalamazoo area. This is your 7th year as in the state as a state senator. You know these people. I mean, and you know what Bill Huizenga has done to this, this district and how he's hurt people. Like as you're traveling around within the district, town to town, city to city, what are you hearing most frequently about how this Trump and MAGA agenda has hurt the people of Michigan's 4th?
Yeah, well, there's a lot there, but 2 of the biggies, of course, are the increase of healthcare costs and the failure of Congress to do anything about that. In fact, they're making it much worse through the one big ugly bill. Look, Ben, when I was in the state house back in 2014, Michigan embraced and expanded Medicaid expansion that was offered by the federal government under the Affordable Care Act at that time. Since then, over 1 million people got coverage, and it brought down and helped control healthcare costs for everybody and helped improve health outcomes for hundreds of thousands of people. Huizenga voting for the one big ugly bill takes away Medicaid from thousands of his own constituents, not to mention millions of people across the country. I just can't wrap my head around that. The fact that it's for billionaires and millionaires to get a better tax cut, including the congressman himself getting enriched by the one big ugly bill, just takes us in absolutely the wrong direction. It's going to blow up everyone's healthcare costs. and now a refusal, flat out refusal to do anything about extending the Affordable Care Act tax credit. So I'm talking to constituents who tell me that their premiums have gone up 200 and 300% across the district. And then we'll just talk about tariffs, and I'm happy to go in any of these further. But, people are looking at their grocery bills and they're really concerned. We look at our grocery bill for our family, our 2 kids and my wife, trying to raise a family here in Kalamazoo. Hamburger, coffee, everything's going up in price. This is an administration that said they would lower your costs on day one. And this is a Congressman, Bill Huizenga, who has stood lockstep in Trump the whole way here with tariffs to the point where it's closed businesses in the local community. And again, people's healthcare costs, their grocery bills and their healthcare costs just keep going up.
Also, I mean, the harm that's been inflicted, the relationships between Canada, I mean, literally just attacking our great ally to the north, and Huizenga by and large is quiet and silent. And this was a special relationship that the United States had that's destroyed over the most kind of deranged and unhinged, stuff, saying that Canada's killing people with all of the fentanyl and it needs to become the 51st state. I mean, given the close bond between Michigan and Canada, talk to us about that.
Yeah, I mean, they're our closest and best neighbor. And I mean, the auto industry is interlinked across the St. Clair River. There's another bridge that's supposed to come online to help boost international trade here with Canada and boost our auto industry in turn. And so, the tariffs that have been random and chaotic and unpredictable and up and down and unconstitutional, it's just been crazy, right? For small businesses to know how to plan, for any industries connected to the auto industry to know what's going to come next. This is just my hockey team here in Western Michigan University was number 1 last year, and we have Canadian hockey players. I mean, we just can't wrap our heads around this approach to our northern neighbor and our nearby neighbor. And again, like you said, it's silence on the Gordie Howe Bridge, silence on the tariffs, silence on taking healthcare away from people. And silence when it comes to engaging with constituents, just not a representative that's ever present here. Wanted to move on from his current office, was told by Trump, no, he can't. So this is the race that's going to flip.
I mean, there was that one town hall he held, if you even want to call it that, back in, was it March of 2025? I think that was it. He didn't listen to anybody. Everybody left there, all the constituents, thinking like he didn't even take questions. It was rude. He was yelling at us. And other than that, he seems to be avoiding constituents also. And talk to us about that, because to me, that's pretty tough. Like, to me, if you truly thought that what you've done for the district is great and that what the Trump and MAGA have done is amazing, wouldn't you want to be out there every day bragging about it and saying, let's do this, let's rally, come meet me over here, let's go to this opening and that opening, I invite everybody? It just, to me, that's probably one of the biggest signs when a politician hides from his people. And Huizenga's a hider.
Yeah, it's really hard to find the guy willing to engage in an open public situation. He'll do a phone call thing that's deeply, screened and self-selected questions that he wants to answer. But, I've been a state senator and a state representative for 11 years. I've been happy to hold coffee hours and town halls and community conversations where it's just me face to face with constituents, whoever comes, and they show up and we talk and I listen, because God knows people get tired of hearing politicians talk. I really believe that I want to hear from people and know what's on their mind. And that's a great way to take the pulse of my constituents. And, when we sign up to do this job, it's not to be a celebrity or to be acclaimed everywhere we go. Like you say, you'd think, though, if you were proud of the things that you were doing and willing to put your accomplishments on the line and stand by them, which I certainly am, that you'd be willing to do that. But that's not what we see here. That's not stepping into the job the way so many people in Southwest Michigan have been used to it. seeing their congressman visible and available and willing to answer for their votes and their policies and their beliefs. But it's absent. It's not here.
Before we go, where can people learn more about the campaign and any message you want to send to our more than 6 million subscribers?
Yeah, and thanks so much for the opportunity to be on. It's a real honor. Simple enough to Google Sean McCann for Congress. I'm on social media channels, same place, Sean McCann for Congress. And I just, get a quick mention in here. Recently named to the red to blue list by the DCCC, one of only 12 candidates, congressional races around the country, flagged as top flip opportunities. So they see what's happening here. And that's why we need national engagement from all around the country, because that's what it's going to take to flip a seat like this. But super happy to have that support and that recognition of the great movement we're building here, and would welcome support from anywhere and everywhere.
Michigan State Senator Sean McCann. State Senator McCann, appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Everybody hit subscribe. Let's get to 7 million subscribers.
Want to stay plugged in? Become a subscriber to our Substack at MeidasPlus.com. You'll get daily recaps from Ron Filipkowski, ad-free episodes of our podcast, and more exclusive content only available at MeidasPlus.com.